because we look up, we small in time and in space, and there's stuff we don't know, and we do. Okay, will we ever figure it out? And who ordered that? I don't know what that is. This is happening to us every day. That's it. You don't know that people are killing one another because of what gods they worship or don't worship, or what skin color they have, or who they sleep with, or who they. No, you don't see any of that.
Well, I thought it would be good to sit down with you. I noticed that your latest book, Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization, given that it's got the word cosmic in it, which is also in my YouTube channel name, I figured there'd be some overlap at the very least. I wanted to begin by asking, actually, what is a cosmic perspective?
Yeah, it's actually quite simple. You and your viewers, listeners, have surely heard of the overview effect, which is what is described by astronauts who have gone into orbit and they look down on Earth, and national borders dissolve away, and you see sort of the fragility of where you came from. It's a whole other outlook. And so astronauts are changed typically for having gone into space and looked down on Earth. That has great value. But you know what has even greater value is a perspective that goes even beyond that. And I would call it a cosmic perspective, which exists not only in sight lines back towards Earth. So if you go to the moon, for example, and you look back to Earth, it's no longer just land masses passing beneath your feet. No, it's the entire Earth. Is they would say, wait a minute, that's a planet. And I'm not on that planet right now. It's just floating. What's holding it up? I don't know. It's just there. And it's orbiting that star. And you don't, like I said, you don't see the color-coded countries in the schoolroom globe. You see oceans and land and clouds. That's it. You don't know that people are killing one another because of what gods they worship or don't worship, or what skin color they have, or who they sleep with, no, you don't see any of that. And so is it a good thing that you see it from far away, that you don't notice it, or is that a bad thing? You could probably argue it both ways, but I would say on balance, it's a good thing. Because if I go up into space and go to the moon with someone from a different faction, let's call them, where our factions are fighting each other on Earth, and we're together up in the moon, where our survival depends on each other, do you think we're going to listen to instructions from military commanders on Earth, or from heads of parliament? Oh, should I punch him in the nose now or later? What should I do? No. We are two human beings, Homo sapiens, 250,000 miles away from the next nearest Homo sapien. All right? This is a cosmic perspective. Things look different from that distance. And an Apollo 14 astronaut, Apollo 14 is, of course, one of the ones that went and walked on the moon, Edgar Mitchell. I opened the book with a quote from him. His quote is so good, I didn't need to write the book. That could have just been the book. The quote is, "You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, 'Look at that, you son of a bitch.'" That's the entire book right there.
Well, allow me to present...
And he was feeling it. He was feeling the cosmic perspective.
I want to present a sort of equal and opposite cosmic perspective that I see some people present, especially on social media. I see a video starting with the person, then the house, then the city, then the country, then the globe, then the solar system, then the galaxy, then the galaxy cluster. Out and out it goes. And the idea and the message is, look how small we are. Look how we're just tiny little apes on a speck of dust in the middle of nowhere. And for many people, rather than feeling a sense of awe and grandiosity, it makes them feel rather small. It makes them feel a bit nihilistic. They think, look how tiny we are in this great expanse of the universe. So for them, adopting a cosmic perspective is something of a negative experience. I wonder what you would say to such people.
I have two responses. One is, Sure, you're small if you start at the human scale and go out to the edge of the universe, 30 powers of 10, whatever is the scale unit that you're using. But you could also zoom in and go into the cells of the human body, let's say the red blood cell, and you go in, and then you get to through the cell wall, and you see the mitochondria or whatever the biologist has recently put inside your cell, and you go all the way down to the molecules, and then within the molecules, the atoms, and within the atoms, the nucleus. You can go as many powers of 10 into something smaller than you as bigger than you. So if you want to feel large, take the trip the other way. So that's my advice, okay? If feeling large is important to you, but feeling large is an ego thing, and there's really no room for ego. This is my second way to address that question. There's no room for an ego in the universe. In fact, astrophysicists got to be some of the most humble scientists among all categories of inquiry. Because we look up, we small in time and in space, and stuff we don't know, and we do, okay, will we ever figure it out? And who ordered that? I don't know what that is. This is happening to us every day.
Neil deGrasse. Tyson's cosmic perspective exposes a problem with religious thinking, especially Christianity. When astronauts look back at Earth, they don't see Christian nations, Muslim nations, or any borders at all. They see one small planet floating in space. That experience is called the overview effect, and Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell talked about it after walking on the moon. From that distance, human conflicts over religion look incredibly petty. Science tells us the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. Our galaxy alone holds hundreds of billions of stars, and there are likely hundreds of billions of galaxies beyond it. Yet Christianity claims that the creator of all of that is focused mainly on the behavior of humans on one tiny planet. Look at the Bible itself. Genesis 1 describes the sun, moon, and stars as lights placed in the sky for Earth. Astronomy shows something very different. Earth is a small planet orbiting an ordinary star in the outskirts of one galaxy among many. From a cosmic perspective, Christianity looks less like divine truth and more like what it actually is: an ancient human story written before people understood the scale of the universe.
And so I claim that if you go into it with no ego, and then you say, wow, we're small. But you know something else? What astrophysics discovered in the middle of the 20th century? That the atoms of your body were forged in the Big Bang and in the hearts of stars that cooked up these elements, starting with hydrogen, and it moved up the periodic table, making heavier and heavier elements, and that star then exploded billions of years ago, scattering that enrichment into gas clouds that would form the foundations of the next generations of star systems, including at least one that has what we call the sun and what we call Earth. And on that Earth, there is life. So yeah, you go out and look up and say, I'm small in this universe. Yeah, you're alive in the universe, but you know what else is true? The universe is alive within you. That fact borders on the spiritual. So that once you know it, and you look up at the night sky and you say, I am one among the stars. I am part of this great unfolding of cosmic events, from the Big Bang to whatever is the fate of the universe. And I get to watch my 3 billion seconds of it. That gets you about 95 years old. I get to watch 3 billion seconds of it, and that is my privilege of being alive in this universe. That's how I think about it.
You said it borders on the spiritual. Is this not enough? Is this not sort of quite enough to be fully spiritual as an experience for you?
Well, spiritual it's a very loose word, and people have privatized the word in whatever way fits themselves. So I don't. That's why I don't want to claim I'm either inventing a new definition for it or using it in some way that would step on the toes of others. When I say borders on spiritual, that's an open door for you to then think about it however it best merges with your sense of the world. So to me, the way I would use the word spiritual, spirit means spirit, right? And spirit, I think from the Latin is breath, your breath, your what is vital for life, all right? In the world of religion, spirituality has taken on religious patinas, and as many people do. So I leave it open. You reach for it, absorb it in whatever way best suits your needs.
So I suppose I've sort of, I can't say I've noticed because I haven't been alive long enough, but it seems to me that if you were to ask people about science and scientific progress, say 50 years ago, you're thinking about rocket ships, you're thinking about extraterrestrial life, you're thinking about exploring the galaxy. Whereas now, when we look at science and we look at the progress of science, we're looking at artificial intelligence and how it's going to destroy, human civilization. We're looking at the science of global warming. We're looking at all kinds of destructive and things that sort of border on an Armageddon view for planet Earth. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, it's not the first time people imagined the end of the world. You go back 250 years, was it? I forgot the exact date. Thomas Malthus was certain the human population would outstrip the food supply because he looked at the rate at which the population was growing, which was exponential. And he looked at the rate at which food supply was growing, which was linear, and exponentials will always win out over linear. And so he was sure we would all just die. Some of the greatest sources of death in the history of civilization have been famine. Tens of millions of people have died from famine in the history of civilization. There are millions of people dying each year today, these days, because of famine and other diseases that are a result of famine and malnutrition. So it's not a new thing to think about the end of the world. If you read the Christian Bible, the New Testament, there's all kinds of talk about the end is coming. That's why you read Revelation. Like, watch for the end. There were people, while Jesus was walking around after he died, okay, people don't talk much about that. While he's walking around after he died, that was viewed as the second coming of Jesus, and that the end was immediate and was going to come right away. So it's, but it wasn't just that. It was, in 1982, there was a great planetary alignment, and people thought that all the gravity would line up and destroy Earth. Okay, of course, it didn't happen. Then there were the people who thought that in the year 2000, that was the end of the world. And then 2012. I submit to you that there is no shortage in the last thousands of years of people declaring that the end of the world is near. Okay, was it Seneca? Somebody says, what is it? The economy is in the toilet. I'm paraphrasing, of course. We didn't have toilets back then. Economy's in the toilet. The children no longer mind their parents, and it's clear that the end of the world is near. All right. So no, I will not accept your declaration that end of the world proclamations are some emergent phenomenon. They're very real to you because you're experiencing them firsthand. But you read through the history, it's been there consistently and persistently. Just ask any ask any cult leader. How do they get you to join the cult? The end of the world is coming. You have to join my cult because I know how to get you. I know how to get around that. Okay. What do you think the people in Jonestown were saying? How many people died? I forgot the number. A cult in was it British Guiana, where the end of the world is coming. Let's all commit suicide so we will go to where we need. The Heaven's Gate cult. All of this. Okay. Maybe the difference that you're citing is it is scientists telling you the world is going to end.
And not only that, but also the difference that I see here is that for these kinds of cases, they say, look, the world is ending, and this is clearly a way to get you to join my club. You know, the Christians, the early Christians can walk around and say, look, the world is coming to an end, and Jesus has warned us that this is happening soon. You'd better repent of your sins. A cult leader can say, the world's going to end, and I can show you the way out of it. But scientists of artificial intelligence seem to just be saying, you know, the world might be about to end, and well, that just sucks. And I'm afraid there's no club that we've formed that can do anything about it.
I would distinguish AI from other aspects of this. There's climate change, where technology got us into it, and we kind of need technology to get us out of it, or change in human behavior. There's an asteroid could be headed our way. We don't know. And if it is, you wouldn't want to go the way of the dinosaurs. So science can inform us of ways we could die that science did not know about 100 years ago.
There's another part of the cosmic perspective that really clashes with Christianity: the obsession with the end of the world. For thousands of years, religious groups have claimed the apocalypse is right around the corner. The New Testament is full of it. In Matthew 24:34, Jesus says that the generation alive at the time would see the end come. 2,000 years later, humanity is still here. Science tells a completely different story. The atoms in your body were formed in the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago and later forged inside exploding stars. Carbon, oxygen, iron, all of it came from supernovae billions of years before Earth existed. Humans are literally made of star material. That cosmic timeline makes religious end times predictions look small and short-sighted. Christianity focuses on a dramatic final chapter, but the universe runs on processes that unfold over billions of years, not a sudden supernatural finale. And history shows something else. People have been predicting the end forever. From medieval preachers to modern cults, the formula is always the same. Tell people the world is ending and claim you know the way out.
All right, so now technology, let's count AI as among the fruits of technology. There are people who fear that AI will ruin. I'm not among those, but then I'm not an expert, okay? Hold aside that I've written 50,000 lines of computer code and I've been thinking about computers my whole life. I don't present myself as an expert, and I won't. And I say that because people who do present themselves as experts, by the way, I don't count Elon Musk as an AI expert, even though he signed a proclamation saying we should get rid of AI. I don't count them because that's not his background, okay? It's not his, well, he's thought about computers, but many people have thought about computers that don't present themselves. So you want to know what he thinks because he's a captain of industry. So yes, it matters what he thinks. But if you want to know whether a prognostication of doom is real, then yeah, you see what people are saying about it. Where people say it's going, I don't agree that that's where it's going. But no reason for you to listen to me because I'm not the expert.
Yeah,
But
you make a prediction in the book. I wrote it down. You said, instead of becoming our overlord and enslaving us all, artificial intelligence will be just another helpful feature of the tech infrastructures that serve our daily lives. You seem quite optimistic about the progress of artificial intelligence.
People freaked out when ChatGPT showed up. All right, it's mastering language, and well, think this through. All right, I'm old enough to remember when you could buy a 4-function calculator. The price of the calculators went from like $500 and $1,000 down to like a couple of $100, down to like $50, which was about the price of a textbook at the time. So you can buy a calculator and no one had to ever again teach you long division. And I say, wow, look what this can do. I don't have to do it. So now I can think of other problems that I couldn't previously solve because I didn't have the ability or the power to do it. I now have a computer to do it. When the computer came on the scene solving science problems, did we go running for the hills? Did we say this is the end of the world? Did we say, oh my gosh? No, we embraced it. We brought our own ingenuity to it to see what else it could do for us.
Having said that, I don't think people.
Wait. So no, I'm saying so. That's how it came into the world of science, and we embraced what computers could do for us. So now, since then, it beat our best chess players. Did the world come to an end? I don't think so. It beat us at Jeopardy, which involves culture. All right. And how nimble are you? Do you know what culture means and how it comes together to form new information compared with previous information? It beat us at Go. Did the world come to an end? No. So now it can write your term paper. You know what we should do? Get it to write the stuff that nobody else wants to write. Get it to write the stuff that no one signs their name to, like instruction manuals. Let it write travel brochures. Nobody ever signed their name to those. Let it do all the things we don't want to do. Okay? That's how I see every new advance in computing. I'm going to say it's a computing advance. You're going to call it AI? Fine. To me, it's a computing advance. By the way, we're kind of there now, almost. There'll be a day AI is driving your car. Let's just call it a really advanced computer. Great. It'll never be drunk, or as you say in the UK, they'll never be pissed, okay? It'll never, okay? And it could probably text and drive at the same time and not put anybody's life at risk. It could go 150 kilometers an hour down the street with very close spacing because it has instant reflexes that you don't. And if it wants to change lanes, it could tell the other cars, could you part? Wait, because I'm about to change lanes. How many accidents occur because people don't see what's happening because there's a blind spot? There are no blind spots. They could drive 150 miles an hour in dense fog because they don't rely on visible light. Let it happen. Bring it on. And at least in the United States, it'll save 40,000 lives a year. You want to get philosophical. What do we do when AI-driven, a computer-driven car kills 5,000 in a year from errors in software code, or it's a bug, or it's a test case that has never been seen, yet it saved 45,000 lives? What do you do about that? No one writes an article about the person who didn't die because they would have been killed that night by a drunk driver. Nobody writes that story. They write the story about who does die. So that number 6,000, everyone will be up in arms and they'll want to get rid of self-driving cars because they don't see the full up statistics of it. And I don't think the transition will be easy or smooth, but that number will go down. Ultimately, it will reach zero.
Sure.
And how I know that? Because planes don't crash anymore. Not really, right? And why? Because I know in America, the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, investigates every single plane crash. Every single one, and they find out how and why it happened, and a new rule shows up for all subsequent takeoffs and landings. That's why you can't carry lithium-ion batteries, okay, in the cargo. No, because that took down a plane, and they know why, and they investigated it, and so all the reasons why it used to happen don't happen anymore. That's the future, and that's what I see.
Notice something about how people react to artificial intelligence. The loudest voices predicting doom sound a lot like religious end times preaching. The language is familiar. Catastrophe is coming. Humanity is about to lose control, and the future looks like Armageddon. Christianity has used that kind of thinking for centuries. The book of Revelation is built entirely around the idea that the world is about to collapse, and divine judgment will follow. Early Christians believed it would happen in their own lifetime. In Matthew 16:28, Jesus says some standing there would not die before the kingdom arrives. That prediction clearly failed. Science works differently. Instead of prophecy, it tests evidence. Tyson points out that artificial intelligence is basically another stage of computing. When calculators appeared, people worried students would stop thinking. When computers beat humans at chess, civilization didn't collapse. Before we wrap up, here's a question for you. When you look at the universe through a cosmic perspective, billions of galaxies, billions of years of history, and humans made from star material, do ancient religious stories still make sense as explanations for reality, or do they feel like ideas from a time when we simply didn't know better? I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this discussion and want more conversations about science, philosophy, and the big questions about our place in the universe, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.